All right, so the market is down and everyone is scared again. We're seeing the fear and greed index finally drop a little bit. I'm going to tell you in this video a couple of strategies that I personally use that are really successful for me for navigating these volatile markets. So let's get started. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Crypto Corner with myself, OJ, crypto investor and analyst since 2016. And I started this channel to share my experience and my knowledge and what I'm doing in this, how I'm navigating these crypto markets with you, so that I can help you in the early days, in the first couple of years. I learned everything from YouTube, from videos from other people that were sharing, their experience and their expertise. And that's why I'm doing the same. In the beginning, there were about 10 channels. Only about a handful of people that were sharing this kind of content for crypto. Right now, there's thousands of people sharing all kinds of content, and there's too much noise on the market. And everyone is telling you, buy this token and buy that token, and this token is going to moon, this token is going to 10x, 100x, this meme coin, that meme coin. A lot of it is noise as well. And the most important thing is risk management and how to navigate the volatile markets, because you don't want to just throw money at a token and then you see this kind of pullbacks, this kind of big corrections. I mean, Bitcoin not so much right now, but some of the altcoins are really correcting. If we look here, I'm looking at the weekly. In the last 7 days, we have some tokens that have dropped by 30%. 28-30%. This is a very good drop, very good buy opportunity, but it's not great if you've already bought that token much higher than it is right now. So one of the strategies, and I saw a lot of comments asking me about this is why I'm doing this video today. So one of the things that I'm doing, which has worked very well for me, is to take profits on the way up. So, every day, typically, especially over the last few weeks when we were riding the bullish momentum, pretty much every day you would find a token that is pumping hard. And if you're holding a lot of tokens, I'm holding about 50 tokens. I was counting them the other day, and I will be doing an update on my portfolio. I think it's due. So very soon I will be releasing that. But you can see here, I'm actually watching 89 coins. Out of these, 50 are already in my portfolio. So that's a lot of tokens. So pretty much every day there is a token in my portfolio, or at least every other day, that is pumping hard. So what I do, one of the first things that I do is I'm arranging the tokens according to in the last 24 hours performance. And I'm looking at, right now, I see a lithium, the token of a lithium pumping hard, 30% in 1 day. Now, this is unsustainable. Typically, you get this kind of pumps and they're followed by corrections. They're followed by pullbacks. It could actually go to 40%. It could go to 60%, especially if we're talking with meme coins. Sometimes you could look into hundreds of percentage points in 24 hours. So, but for me, what works is, first of all, I have to have bought the token previously. I'm never going to buy it on a green day. On red days like today, when you have a lot of tokens that are in the red, this is when I'm actually accumulating tokens. And if I see that a token is 7, 8, 10%, 15% down, I'm going to get interested in accumulating. But once I've accumulated, I'm now waiting and I'm just watching the performance. If I see that a token is doing a 30% or 40 or 50% jump in 1 day, I go to the chart of that token. And as I look at that chart, what am I seeing? This is basically what's going to tell me whether I want to unload. Typically, I would unload or offload, I should say. Typically, what I do is when I see a 40% or 40% in a day, I'm ready to sell. And I'm not going to sell all of my tokens, but I'm going to sell a decent size of my position because I'm expecting a pullback soon after that. Because this right now could be due to news, could be due to a new release, or just anything happening. Maybe the token got listed on another exchange, and this is why it's pumping. Whatever it is, I'm just giving you an example with this token, but I'm trying to make that video to work for all kinds of scenarios. So whatever it is, this is going to be just a temporary pump that is going to push the price to a certain level. From that level it will get rejected, and then it's going to have a pullback. It could be a minor pullback, it could be a much deeper pullback. Either way, we will be seeing a pullback. And sometimes these kind of pumps could actually last for a couple of days, maybe even 3 days, but very rarely they would just go up and up and up. Very rarely you're going to see tomorrow another 30% and the day after another 30% and then another 10% and then another. I mean, sooner or later you're going to see a pullback in that token. So I'm laddering my sell positions. I'm starting to sell at this price. And especially here, I'm already seeing that this pump is getting exhausted because as you can see, we have a wick of a candle. So we went higher, and this is the 4-hour chart. So we went higher and then it got pushed down. We couldn't actually maintain the higher level, which is $3.10. As it went above $3, sellers stepped in and started selling more aggressively, thus pushing the price down. So now it's hovering around $3, which is a psychological resistance. You know, it's a round number, makes sense. So at this point, this is my signal. Okay, the momentum is getting exhausted. This pump is going to be over soon, so I'm going to sell, and I start selling. Maybe 10%, maybe 20%, whatever it is of your position that you're comfortable to offload. And I usually offload around 30% to maybe 50% of my position, depending on the token. With some tokens, I'm looking into more long-term investment. Therefore, I wouldn't really be selling a big chunk of them. I might only be offloading about 20 or 30%. Other tokens, I have kind of a shorter term scenario with them, and I'm only holding them for maybe a couple of months or something like that. And in that case, I might offload the majority of that token or even all of it. It really depends. It's different. Lithium is one of the tokens that half of it is already staying in my hardware wallet. Not hardware, it's in its own wallet, which is you know, a self-custodial wallet. So these are the tokens that I'm not going to touch, I'm not going to bother with. The other half I left at the exchange, and for lithium I'm actually using MaxC, which is probably not the best exchange, but nevertheless it works. For spot trading, it's fine. People have problems with futures trading on that exchange, but with spot trading, I haven't had any problems. And half of my stash of lithium is staying on the exchange, ready for days like today. So I bought this token at $2. It is now $3. I've made a very decent 50% gain on that token. And in fact, my first purchases were even below $2, but the majority was around 2 and 204. So for me, I'm comfortable with that kind of profit, and I decided to lock in some profits. It never hurts to lock profits. This is a very important point here that I want to make, because many people feel that they should be holding that token for 300% and 400% or 500% gains, you know, 5x, 10x, 100x, whatever. You don't actually have to hold that token all the way until it gets to that. You can offload during these kind of pump days, and you can actually accumulate the same amount that you sold, but you will be ending up putting less money. Because now, as I'm selling it at $3, the next thing I'm going to do is wait for a pullback, and as it starts pulling back and it goes to like 280, 260, 250, which I'm expecting, I will be comfortable buying it again. And now I can buy the same amount of tokens at a cheaper price, meaning I will spend less money. And I would just free some of the money originally that I invested in there. I would just lock in some profits. Nobody got wrecked by locking profits, guys. This is very important. So this is a very safe strategy. Of course, it is possible that the bullish news are really strong, and many people are finding out later, so they can jump in, and tomorrow we can see another green candle and then another one, which is also why I said I'm laddering my positions, meaning I'm selling a portion at this price, and then I'm placing some sell orders at higher prices. And usually what I do is I try to estimate possible support and resistance levels, and this is how I'm positioning my sell prices or my buy prices as well, my positions. So these are Fibonacci levels that I just drew from the recent high to the recent low, and this is going to tell me on the way up what are the levels that I can expect to see some resistance. And we can see one of the first levels was this one here, and also another level of resistance. Let me just grab the two. So we had this, we also had this level here, and we've had this level. So we broke that first resistance, then we broke even the second resistance, but as you see, we tried to go to the third one and we failed, which means that this is now a much stronger resistance. However, I will be placing orders at all of these prices. First of all, I placed some orders at the current price. I sold at the current price. Then I'm placing some orders at 301, and then I'm also laddering in between these levels. So I placed some orders at 306 and 304. I placed some orders at 310 and 320, just in case that we go up there, because it could be that this move has already been exhausted and this is the pump. That's it, it's finished. From this point on, the buyers have already accumulated, and now we have more sellers than we have buyers. Therefore, the price is going to start dropping even more. Or it could be that this is just taking a breather, just having a bit of a consolidation here. If we go in the shorter time frame, the 30 minutes, we're going to see that it's dropping now. Maybe it's going to go down to this level, to 94, and from here it's going to bounce and it's going to continue. Or maybe it's going to make another attempt, but it's going to fail, it's going to get rejected again, and then it's just going to start dropping more and more and more. Therefore, I'm going to keep watching this token. I will be ready to offload even more if I see that we're not going any higher, but I am placing some orders at higher price levels in case we continue to pump. And of course, again, I'm not placing orders for the whole stash that I have, because it could be that right now it's making a bit of a pullback, and this is giving people time to accumulate, especially some of the sellers. If something, and again, it's not about this particular token, but with some tokens, it could be that there's a lot of bullish momentum. So these kind of pullbacks are only short-term pullbacks, and the sellers are reaccumulating these pullbacks, and they're continuing to push the price higher and higher, and then continuing to sell at higher prices. So this could actually continue to rise, just as it did here. We saw that as it hit the resistance of 265, it actually saw a bit of selling pressure. It dropped down a little bit for about an hour. It was going down. It was just a little bit of a breather, and then it continued going up. So it could be that right now this is another short-term breather, and then it will continue going up. And this way I would still have some more stash to keep selling as it keeps going higher. And then I can wait for weeks or even months for the price to drop to my level, because at some point there will be another big market correction, big market drop, where everything goes down by 20-30%. And even if this has gone to like 380, whatever, much higher than it is right now, a 30 or 40% correction could easily take it back to these prices. So at the very least, I could accumulate it back at these prices. But I do feel that we are actually going to see a correction way before this kind of prices, because if we look at the 4-hour chart, the stochastic and the simple RSI are getting in the overbought region. The simple RSI is not there yet, but it's very close, and the stochastic RSI is already there. It's already in the overbought region. It's above this line here, above the 80 is what I'm looking at. So as we get in the overbought region, typically we see a drop, as we did here. So this here, let me just mark it so that I can show you what happened as we got to this point here, which is pretty much at the same level as we are right now. Where is this? It's here. So as you see, we actually had a nice pump here, a few hours, quite a few hours, pretty much a whole day, like today, a very decent pump. And as we got in the overbought stochastic and simple RSI, they were both pretty much in the same levels as they are right now. And we saw this big correction here, big drop. So I'm not saying that I'm expecting the same kind of a drop. This was quite a significant one, but definitely a pullback or a correction is going to come. If not right now, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, but it will. And this is when I will be looking to reaccumulate. Not immediately though, because sometimes the drop needs to take a few weeks to really hit a bottom like here. It didn't actually happen in a couple of days. This took a few weeks for all of this nice drop to develop, and then we went to 220, 219, 220, which is still above my buy price. For me, I was not worried about that kind of a drop, but if you are buying during this kind of pumps, if you are buying today at 260, 270, 280, in the last few hours, then you will be freaking out as it starts dropping. So always wait for red days. This is the second strategy. It's kind of, I already mentioned it. It's kind of obvious, but arrange your tokens according to performance and see which are the worst performers. I mean, hopefully you're not watching some tokens that are worthless. You're watching good tokens, tokens with either good fundamentals or just generally with very good performance. And as you see that they're dropping heavily, today we don't really have a good example of that. We don't have a token that is dropping by 20%. It's kind of a very decent performance, nothing crazy. Let me just remove my favorites and see, is there anything to see here? We see a 15% drop, we see a 12% drop. These are not very big drops, guys, but if you see 15%, you can actually go in the chart and look at that token and see if it's hitting any kind of support levels. And how you can find out the support is, let's say here we've seen this rally and now the token starts correcting, right? So I'm going to draw Fibonacci levels and I'm going to take them from the most recent low to the most recent high. And I'm not talking about today because we haven't really seen the end of this move yet. So I'm going back in time, but you will be doing this according to the latest, development. What's the latest performance of your token? And you will be looking at the most recent low to the most recent high. You draw this, and now you can see here you have the first level of support. And if this level doesn't hold, then you have another level and another one and another one. And what happened is, this is very clear here with this token. It's actually a very good example. This token went to that first level of support. Let me clean up the chart a little bit. And I'm gonna remove the EMAs as well so that we have less lines to look at. Okay, so it went to that first level of support and it kind of consolidated around that level. It was indecisive, buyers were kind of stepping in. They were like, oh, this is a support, I'm gonna be buying here. And then sellers were like, oh no, but this is too high, we need to push it down, it needs to go lower. I'm happy to sell at this price. And there was a little bit of indecision in the market for a little bit of time. And at some point the sellers actually took over and they said, no, this is a very high price, I'm selling. And they pushed it down and actually dropped quite significantly. Now this could be coinciding with a big drop of the market altogether. Maybe Bitcoin dropped on that same day, and this is why we're seeing that kind of a big drop. And it broke all these three support levels, and as it broke all of these support levels, it went to the lower one. It stayed very shortly at this level and it went even lower and lower, and you can see it actually stopped here at this, in between these two levels, which is a golden pocket. This here, the 1.41 and 1.27 is another golden pocket where it actually stopped. This is where it found its bottom. So you can see all of these levels with the Fibonacci's if you draw them correctly, and you can anticipate what's going to happen, where the token is going to go. And what you do, what's the strategy? Once you already know these levels, what you can do is just monitor the price action. As the price is coming here to this level, to this support, I never expect that it's going to stop at the first support. I usually expect it to go at least to the golden ratio, which is 0.618. You can't really see it, but it's this one here, 0.618. This is the golden, and the 0.50. Typically, these are the two levels that most of the time we bounce from. So if there was more bullish momentum, this token could have just stopped at these levels and bounced on the upside. I'm waiting to see the bounce. As I see it bouncing on the upside, only then I'm actually getting ready to jump back in, because if there is no bounce, as we saw in this level here, we consolidated and we were indecisive, but we didn't really see a bounce. You can say that this green candle here was a bounce, in fact, and you could jump in, but if you jump back in at this candle, you have to set up tight stop losses, because as you saw, the next day it got invalidated. So this was a fake out. This was kind of breaking a resistance, but it was a fake out, and it was just a liquidity grab. So this also happens, and you can be prepared by just setting some tight stop losses. And as we bounced up here and you got that fake signal, if you were quick to act and you bought back in, the next day you could actually sell pretty much at the same price, maybe slightly lower than your price, because this move got invalidated and we continued dropping down. But this is why I'm saying that I'm waiting for a proper bounce to see that we are really ready to take the next step on the upside, the next leg on the upside. And we only saw that here. As we started printing higher lows than previous ones, only then we got confirmation that we are turning this downtrend here. This was a short-term downtrend. We flipped it, and we are now in this next bull run, which is getting exhausted. I feel that it's getting exhausted. At this point, to me, it's calling for a pullback. I'm not sure if it's ready for a proper correction yet, because if we look on the daily still looks bullish here. The stochastic RSI and even the simple RSI have more room to be going on the upside before we look at a proper correction. And this is also why I'm waiting to sell slightly higher if we go higher, because there is a chance of that. But this is a very simple strategy, guys. I will continue doing videos to share more strategies and everything, more tips, but I'm not gonna make this video any longer. This is what I wanted to share with you today, and this hopefully is going to help you. This should be working with any token. I know I was showing you one specific token, but this is a strategy that is just general. It's not about a lithium right now. And by the way, this is a very good token, so if it's not in your portfolio, definitely try to catch it on the correction, on the way down, because after a few days, it will definitely start correcting, and it could be correcting for weeks, because as we see right now, Bitcoin is going down. There's no really indication that Bitcoin is ready to start another pump, because we are now just 2 weeks away from the halving, and typically around the halving, we don't really see a lot of bullish price action, so I'm not expecting Bitcoin to be pumping. But if Bitcoin is just consolidating and it's not dropping down, then it's going to be good. Many markets will be green. Altcoins are definitely going to be green, because traders are going to move to altcoins in the search of volatility if Bitcoin is just consolidating. But if Bitcoin is correcting more and is still going down to 60,000, which is a possibility, then most of the altcoins will be bleeding too. So you will have a chance to be buying them cheaper. So always have some, that's another strategy, another tip. Always have some stable coins at hand. Just keep a certain stash of your money in stable coins for big red days that might be coming. I mean, we already had 2 red days. That's not a big correction though. We could go lower. So be prepared for that as well. Well, this is all the alpha for today. I will keep sharing. Let me know what other questions do you have in the comments, because today's video was purely because of comments. I was answering comments and everything, and I noticed that a few people were asking about what to do, how to navigate in this volatility. So this was a great idea. Thank you guys, you gave me that idea, and hopefully this video is helping. Thanks for staying until the end of the video. Make sure to check out the links in the description below and hit subscribe. If you're new to this channel, hit subscribe. It's free. All of my content is free. There is no Patreon. There are no paid Telegram groups, nothing like that. I share all of my alpha, all of my tips and expertise here with you on my YouTube channel and in my blog, crypto-corner.com. And also, you can subscribe to my crypto newsletter. you can scan this QR code, or you can find the link in the description below. I send out my newsletters once or twice a month. Depends, sometimes twice a month when there's a lot of things happening and I need to give you updates, but I try not to overwhelm with emails and spam your inbox with emails, because I don't really like that myself. So once a month, maximum twice a month, where I share market data, my analysis and things that don't really make it into my videos. So it's worth getting those emails as well. All right, well, that's it from me. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Until then, stay profitable.